Welcome back and thanks for joining us tonight here on In Focus. Newly elected EFF Gauteng chairperson Nkululeko Dunga says provincial structures must start gearing up for the 2024 general elections. He shared the stage with 5 others at the Provincial People's Assembly in Boksburg last weekend. Philip Makwala will serve as Dunga's deputy, while Moshe Nkoma has been re-elected as provincial secretary. For more on this, we're joined now by the new EFF Gauteng leader, Nkululeko Dunga. Good evening and thank you for your time. Congratulations on your appointment, and we wish you well in your administration. First and foremost, if you look at the kind of instability we are seeing in Ekurhuleni, for example, in now the city of Johannesburg, the kind of chaos that is going there, and then there is the situation in Tshwane as well. Is the EFF playing any role in those machinations that are happening there?
No. Greetings to you, Babundluli, and greetings to the viewers of Newzroom Afrika. Look, what we can say is that the EFF is committed to the formulation of stability and a stable governance throughout the country in all the relevant all the spheres of governance, being it provincial, local government structures, and even at a national perspective, that is. So we should not even attempt to try and even divorce the fact that we were part of the creation of these governments in Tshwane, in Joburg, even in Ekurhuleni, in terms of the formulation of governance and our mandate to the formulation of these governments that were constituted through some sort of coalition agreements of the DA and in other areas of the ANC that we are not a part of, was that we wanted a stable government that can render basic services and effective basic services to society and those people who are in dire need of basic services, which remain in majority the black and rejected masses of Gauteng. So it is not true, or it's a misconception to try and assume that the EFF forms part of attempt to destabilize any sort of government structures, when we know that the only way that you and the most effective way in actual fact of wanting to create instability is to go into your respective legislatures and raising motions of no confidence and so forth and voting against, which is an avenue that we can always just look at as opposed to shadow engagements of an attempt to destabilize.
What is your view, or maybe what is your position, and also by extension, what do you think you would do differently if you were in that position, right? If we look, for example, at Tshwane, there's continued complaints that the service delivery there is directed into the affluent parts of Tshwane, and people in Soshanguve, in Hammanskraal, in Ga-Rankuwa are being left behind, right? You look at the city of Johannesburg, there's also concern there that, for example, residents of Soweto are not being attended to when it comes to the electricity crisis. Ekurhuleni, where you're from, you look at, we are currently having issues with the waste and so on and so forth. There's that very lack of service delivery that is going on there. Are these things having to do with the instability in governance, or are these things that have got to do with, I suppose, the previous administration that was in place, and how do you see yourself fixing it if you are coming into government in Gauteng in 2024?
Yeah, well, look, I think the DA has sort of taken a posture to just continue with the legacy of even the previous administration, which is by and large to service predominantly white dominant areas and affluent areas in society. The people of Hammanskraal have always complained of lack of service delivery. The people of Tembisa have always complained of lack of service delivery. Soweto at some stage was standstill in terms of the electricity crisis, and at that time when the ANC in actual fact wanted to put electricity meters, smart electricity meters that would then cut off the constant power cuts, the lack of water supply at times in certain areas, the lack of collection of waste, which is a predominant factor in the city of Ekurhuleni, as you correctly put it. These have always been complaints that have been raised by society, even with the previous administration, and they sort of continued with the legacy of the ANC, that's the DA at least. And we have raised those concerns to the relevant administrators and departments, and we continue to do so. And we have seen in areas where there is a positive response to some of the issues that we have raised, but whereas we are not getting any responses, we hit hard, and you would know that we hit extremely hard. You look at, for example, in the city of Tshwane, it is actually the EFF that is leading that particular campaign for the removal of the mayor for his attempt to interfere in administrative processes, particularly in trying in unsolicited tendering. It is the EFF that highlighted and brought that matter to the attention of society in trying to ensure that there is accountability that we bring forth. In the city of Ekurhuleni, once again, it's the EFF always at the center of addressing some of these matters. For the longest of times, we've complained against the Department of Waste and Environment, to a point that we have actually started even calling for the resignation of the HOD Faith, because on numerous occasions, as the EFF caucus, we have attempted to try and convene her, and she has literally just snubbed the organization and not wanting to have any sort of engagement with us and trying to remedy the dire situation that is there. Because if you go around in all of our townships, in actual fact, rubbish is not collected. There's a high level of grass that is uncut in unused land and so forth, and it has become a serious problem for us, not only through health hazard, but also in criminality. In the city of Joburg, it was once again the EFF which spearheaded the removal of the speaker when we felt that they were not doing anything that they particularly in the matter of being accountable and being principled. They were not adhering to the basic principles of the EFF, and therefore had to be removed. So that is sort of the position that the EFF has undertaken, that feel that we're not getting, the stability, we're not getting the service delivery that we've always advocated for, particularly for society and not just voters of the EFF. And then would raise those issues and correctively deal with them. Yeah. Now, as we assume power in 2024, it is to do in opposite of what the current administrators are currently doing.
Now, I don't know whether, I'm sure your leader would say it's a rumor, or maybe if it's not, you'll tell me, but others are saying it's an open secret that the EFF would like mayorship in Tshwane, and it's been so for a while. Others are saying to the extent that you are even willing to go into a deal with the ANC in order for you to secure that. Why is Tshwane so important to you?
Look, Tshwane would be important to any political organization, considering that the hub of administration, it is the capital city, of the country. It lies in Tshwane. The offices of a president of South Africa lies in Tshwane. So it would create a good organization, given the opportunity by even society to take control of Tshwane and deliver services and basic services to the people of Tshwane as a benchmark to having the ability to actually show to society that we can lead in a professional, dignified manner to render services. Yeah. Also, Tshwane has a rejected and remote areas, such as Johannesburg and as far as Bronkhorstspruit and so forth, that are extremely neglected, where there is no economic activity. I mean, there is not even basic services such as water in the area of Hammanskraal for the longest of times. So we want to also assume space in areas where people are in dire need, and for the longest of times their concerns have fallen on deaf ears, and opportunity to do exactly that.
Give me one or two things that you say you will do. I mean, of course, maybe it's still far off, but people have not clearly given you a clear mandate to lead in the province. But should a miracle happen, because we are seeing the machinations that are currently going on and the failures of the ANC, and others are predicting a decline in electoral support of the ANC in 2024. Should it happen that you are given a clear mandate to govern, give me one or two things that you will do in the province to deal with joblessness.
It's unemployment.
With joblessness, with unemployment, yes.
Okay. Well, you would know that at the center of unemployment would lie access to opportunities. So we still do not understand why there is not a more localized approach to procurement specifically. Now, there is an opportunity because government is one of the highest spenders. And I mean, when you are looking at a more local economic activity, is to ensure that society within the respective regions and within the province are at the center of the procurement process. The access to land, which is a fundamental basis of the EFF, is what equates to economic activity and ultimately the creation of jobs and so forth. So would accelerate the need and the program of action to actually release land to the young, and particularly as well to women, so that there can be economic activities such as ensuring that there will be farming that can take place, so that there can be businesses that can be formulated and established there, so that manufacturing can take a center stage in Gauteng, and to literally re-industrialize Gauteng. In ensuring that there is manufacturing, in ensuring that all the former industries that were actually here actually get to come back. You look at the city of Ekurhuleni, I will always make a more reference to it, because as a newly elected chairperson of Gauteng, my activism was mostly based in Ekurhuleni, and that's why I draw a lot of reference from, is that at one stage, the city of Ekurhuleni was and continues to be referred to as the workshop of the country, but the unemployment rate is much more higher. And what is the reason thereof? It's very simple, is that manufacturing as a sector has really gone down.
All the factories in Tanzania, they are closed.
Yeah. So it's to re-establish that. I mean, simple manufacturing companies such as the manufacturing of a tablecloth. There is no need for us to import a tablecloth that can be manufactured here. A washing cloth is of the same nature. In Apex, in actual fact, there used to be a huge company that used to manufacture towels and tablecloths and dishcloths that has shut down. But yet every single day of our lives, we wake up, and that can be manufactured here. Another basic simple thing that we can manufacture here is toothpicks. I mean, it does not take a rocket scientist to manufacture a simple thing as a toothpick. Every single household has a toothpick. So these are some of the things that we can do in the immediate to have a turnaround strategy in trying to move to a re-industrialized Gauteng.
Nkululeko Dunga, appreciate your time. Thanks so much for coming on and sharing your thoughts and your vision with us tonight here on In Focus, the incoming chairperson of the EFF in the province of Gauteng.